Let's now talk about the relationship you're building up with your suppliers or collaborators in your business. Your business. Step 1. Do you have any suppliers or collaborators in your business? How do they aid your business on a monthly basis? Who could facilitate your service or product production? And what type of agreements do you currently have in place? I'm asking you all this question to make you think and also analyze all the different situation you might create between you and the collaborators or your suppliers. This will help you out find clarity as well, and not only take decision for future collaboration you might have. Step 2. How do you communicate your terms and conditions to your clients? What is included in your terms and conditions? Out of all the terms and conditions, which is the most difficult for your customers to follow? And can you think of a simpler way to go about the same terms and conditions? Here we're thinking about the terms and conditions you can place, for example, on your website or on any different social media platform. Now, based on all those questions, I want you to think of it and understand what type of conditions you want your client to remember. Okay, what is included, like we're saying in previous sessions, related, for example, for the delivery and your refund, the payment terms, or your details, bank details, and so on to proceed on the payment. Okay, so what type of condition you want to tell them? Or you can also give them as a condition the deadline you might have to deliver a service or a product, or as well how do you want them to ask you for your order, okay, to inquire any question they might have and so on. Okay, so these are all things you could include in your terms and conditions. Step 3. This is related to the vendor risk assessment. This is an analysis of what can happen or what can go wrong between the relationship you're building up between you, your collaborators, and maybe your vendors. Okay, so there is some step that you need to analyze and understand how you could solve any situation in case something will go wrong. Let's go and see how. Now, a vendor risk assessment named VRI, also known as a vendor risk review, okay, is the process of identifying and evaluating potential risk or hazard associated with the vendor operations and products and its potential impact on your organization. Okay, when you perform a third-party vendor risk assessment, you determine the most likely effect of uncertain events and then identify, measure, and prioritize them. Okay, so in case you're placing an order which based on the product or maybe the resources you're buying from your supplier, you have to continue your production. If your supplier does not deliver it on time, how are you going to go about that and not be postponing yourself, your delivery as well with your own client? So what measures you need to take in place to make sure that anything that can go wrong between you and your supplier or your collaborator doesn't influence the service you're providing to your end client. Okay, now potential risk includes the accuracy and reliability of operational, customer, and financial information, security branches, operations effectiveness, and legal and regularly compliances. Okay, now over here I made a little chart on what steps you could take to actually set to do the VRI assessment, okay, so the risk assessment, but as well all the things you should think about before proceeding with a relationship with a collaborator or a vendor. So, step 1, determine and define your needs. What do you need and what type of person or company you might need. Then, 2, create ethic rules and engagement for all the vendors. Okay, so it has to be a win-win situation between you and your vendors. 3, search or send out bids for vendors. Okay, so search for the ideal vendor for you, the ideal supplier. 4, select your ideal supplier based on any price or any terms. You might agree with them. For example, someone that can give you a credit note, or someone that delivers the product directly to your door, or so on. Okay, so based on the conditions that are more favorable for your business, then define contract terms and time frame. Okay, so make sure they know how long they need to take to deliver their product or their service towards you, so then you can continue for producing your product or delivering your service to your end client. 6. Monitor relationship and performance from your vendors or your suppliers. End of contract and relationship of renewal. How are you going to be renewing your contract? Every company needs to perform VRA for all its vendors to ensure a smooth business operation and assess the potential partners' credibility, security, privacy protocols, data, and disaster recovery plans. A vendor risk assessment is essential in selecting partners that are appropriate to your business needs. Now, have you done a risk assessment before, a vendor risk assessment before? If yes, please explain what steps you taken below. Step 4. What terms and conditions should you put in place on your social media? So for example, on Facebook, Instagram, obviously on your website, emails, and any other, maybe you use LinkedIn or Pinterest or any other platform. Okay, so what is important for your end client to know in order to collaborate with you? So we were doing the assessment, the risk assessment with your vendors. Okay, now you have to think of the condition and terms and condition you want to have with your own client. Okay, so join down your notes in here. As well, if you need more space to join any question, notes, inquiry, or reminders for yourself, I left you a little space in here related to the collaboration with your vendors or suppliers, and we're closing up with a quote. For today is, risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. So make sure you evaluate all your risk and hazard to smooth and find your solutions prior delivering a bad service to your own client. See you in the next session. Thank you.